If you've been stuck in a cycle of procrastination, then you're not lazy. You're just trapped. And in today's video, I'm going to show you why. I'm going to show you how it's destroying your momentum, why you need to break out of it if you want to succeed, and also show you exactly how to actually be able to break out of it, right? So let's dive into this, because here's the thing. If you're struggling with procrastination, then chances are deep down, you already know what you need to be doing. The problem is not clarity. The problem is execution. And what makes execution hard is the emotional weight behind the task itself, right? Like we feel stress, we feel anxiety, we feel resistance. There's essentially a tension that comes with doing those tasks that don't necessarily reward us right away, and we don't really exactly even know if they will give us a payout at all, right? And so what do we do instead? We go out and we numb ourselves. Now, people numb themselves in a lot of different ways, right? For me, it's been YouTube, junk food, sugar, sex, but it can be a lot of different things for a lot of different people, especially in today's day and age. Like, essentially, we all have our own ways of escaping. But here's the catch. Every time that you dodge discomfort, you're literally teaching your brain to repeat that pattern. Like, I want you to think of your brain almost as a computer. The biggest difference being that when we teach a computer how to operate, we just put a lot of keys and we code into the computer how we want it to operate. And the way that we code our brain is through the actions that we take, right? So for example, if you're at home and you know that you need to go to the gym, but you also want to watch Netflix, and you end up deciding, you know what, I'm going to go to the gym instead, you're actually reinforcing that behavior. So next time when that decision comes around, you're going to be more inclined, and it's going to be easier for you to decide to go to the gym instead of watching Netflix. And so that's a positive feedback loop, essentially. The problem is that this also works the other way around, which means that every time you decide to do a negative action, like figuratively speaking, kicking the can down the road, you're also reinforcing the negative pattern, and it'll become more and more difficult for you to actually break it. You're not just procrastinating, you're literally wiring procrastination into your way of operating. And that's how the negative spiral essentially starts, because you kick the can down the road, you watch a YouTube video, smoke some weed, you doom scroll on TikTok or Instagram, and eventually life circles back and the can is still there. And so what do? Well, you feel the same tension, you feel the same anxiety, you repeat the cycle, you go for that kind of quick dopamine hit, you kick the can down the road once again. But the problem is that the task doesn't go away. The task is still there. You've only alleviated the tension behind the task, but with a quick dopamine hit. But the problem is that your ability to face that task and that tension becomes weaker and weaker as time goes on. And here's what's scary. You're literally building pathways in your brain around this behavior, so that every time that you escape instead of engage, you make it easier for yourself to escape again next time around. And because you're just consistently escaping, you're bound to have that kind of reality check come up more and more often because you're never dealing with it, right? So you're essentially strengthening that neural pathway until eventually avoidance becomes your default operating system. And here's the deeper truth as well. Like, if you're looking to achieve anything meaningful in your life, like whether that's becoming elite in sales, whether that's like having an academic pursuit, whether that's starting your own business, something athletic, like discomfort is guaranteed. There's no way for you to become like your highest, your truest version of yourself without there being some sort of discomfort and pain and tension along the way. So if you don't train yourself to face negative emotions head on, you'll always be hitting a wall. You'll always find reasons to pull back. And that's why this skill at its core, like the ability to handle discomfort, is one of the most fundamental, like baseline abilities that you can develop no matter what type of path you're on. You know, it's really the difference between staying stuck and really breaking through. And so the reason I'm sharing this is something that I just recently realized that I've been struggling with deeply recently, like almost for the last year. And that's why I'm also so focused on it right now, because in many ways I recognize that it almost took complete control of my life. But I've been working with a coach that kind of helped me realize this. And we came up with a very simple yet powerful shift that helped me slowly but surely get my life back on track. And it's what I'm going to be sharing with you today. So here's the principle, right? Like, meditation is the medication for sedation. So if you want to stop sedating, which is essentially what you're doing anyway when you procrastinate, you need to learn how to feel discomfort without having the need to resolve it immediately with a hit of dopamine. You know, going back to what I said earlier, meditation is the medication for sedation. We basically need to allow our emotions to come to the surface and get processed without trying to fight it. And so why meditation is good for exactly that is because it allows you to center yourselves on your emotion, and you can allow them to expand within you. But here's the thing, if you're anything like me, if this behavior is something that you've been perpetuating for a very, very long time, odds are that your nervous system, essentially the thing within you that's there to kind of process those emotions, it's most likely fried, you know, and just sitting down in silence, essentially going from 100 to 0 like that will feel nearly impossible. And so that's why we need to start small. We need to take a little bit of a more thought out approach to this. So instead of going from a 100 to 0, what I've been doing and what I want you to do as well is I want you to do like what I call like the 100 to 25 to 0 approach. And how do you do that? Well, every day for the last few weeks, I've been going on 45 to 60-minute walks. No headphones, no podcasts, no music, no audiobooks. Just me, myself, my thoughts, my emotions, and I've just been allowing them to process, allowing whatever feelings and thoughts that come into me. I've allowed them to kind of stay there and move out and kind of essentially, just processing those emotions. And initially, I'm going to be very honest with you, it sucked. Like my first 2 to 3 walks, I could feel that kind of negative built up emotion that I had been avoiding for so long. Like all of it kind of came back at once. And it was very, very uncomfortable. It was almost as if, you know, if you've ever had like a huge injury or some surgery, and for the first few days, you're kind of on painkillers, and then you start to wane off them, and suddenly you start feeling all those things that the painkillers have been kind of numbing away. Like that's kind of what it felt like. But the good news is by day 4, by day 5, my system started to stabilize, and I could kind of really think clearly again. I could face the things that I had been running from. And so that's also what I want you to do once you're done watching this video. Commit to 45 to 60-minute walks every single day. No inputs, just yourself. After 3 to 4 weeks, start meditating, you know, do 10, 15, 20 minutes, see if you can build your way up to 20 to 30-minute meditations sessions daily. And you'll slowly but surely start to train your nervous system to handle discomfort. And from there, everything changes, right? So it's exactly what I was talking about earlier. This is not a thing, especially if you've been perpetuating this behavior for a long time. This is not something that's going to go away overnight. And so you need to commit to a process. But here's how I want you to think about it. Even though there's no quick fix for this, if you've been digging yourself down into a hole for a long time, it's better to start climbing out than to just perpetually continue to dig yourself further and further and further into this. Because as soon as procrastination fades, focus will return, and that momentum that you're looking for will slowly but surely start to build. And 3 months from now, 6 months from now, 1 year from now, 5 years from now, you're going to be completely unrecognizable to yourself because you were able to master this one super fundamental skill within you. So that's when you essentially get control back of your life. And that's it. That's kind of it for today's video. I honestly hope that you got some value out of it. Again, go for 45 to 60-minute walks. regain control of your emotion, of your nervous system, start facing discomfort instead of running away from it. Allow yourself to process that and get comfortable with it. You will slowly but surely, just like I have started to see over these last few weeks, you see your life starting to change, right? That's what I want you to be doing as well. Drop a like down below if you like this video. Let me know if you want to see more stuff like this, and remember to hit that subscribe button, and I'll see you guys in another video.